What is the best Zepbound maintenance dose? Hi, friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. Gratefully have lost over 91 pounds, probably more than that because I haven't weighed in a hot second. And on the race to, this is 85 pounds down, but I'm technically 91 pounds down. On the race to 100 pounds weight loss by using Zepbound and GLP-1 medication. And on today's episode, I want to do a deep dive into a much asked question, which is the best Zepbound maintenance dose, or if you're on a compound like Tirzepatide or semaglutide, somewhat applicable, same with Wegovy maintenance dose too. If you're having chronic obesity management, this video is for you. And I want, as always, to talk to your own healthcare provider about that. That's obviously tip number one, is you're going to be in conversation with your healthcare provider. But you're gonna walk away from this video with 6 tips. Let's dive into tip number 1. Make sure you stay till the end. It's a resource we have not talked about enough in the GLP-1 community. And if you are not doing this, you are putting your health at very much detriment and at risk. Stay till the end with that. Tip number 1 is you need to find out with your insurance company. If you are 50% of people on Zepbound are self-pay. The other 50% are more than likely having it through insurance. And so you need to double check with your insurance if they have rules for you. If that is where this financial burden and brunt for Zepbound is coming from, is through your insurance, first ask them. Get the red tape. I know in my free encouragement group, and by the way, all the resources I'm going to talk about today will be linked down in the description link below. The insurance company has dictated a lot for like refills, of course, and for a lot of different things, even changing doses. Now I'm hearing from other group members about how insurance companies are making the patient titrate up on a particular dosing schedule. And so what I want you to do is know your rules. Know your rules, know the fine print. I know hashtag adulting sometimes stinks of having to know those rules, but it's really important if insurance is paying for your Zepbound and you're looking to make some deviations to go to the maintenance dose, you've hit your BMI, you've hit the weight loss goals that you have. And this is something I haven't talked about before because I wasn't super close to my goals, and I'm getting closer to my goals. And now I'm starting to think about, okay, I will be on Zepbound probably or some form of GLP-1 the rest of my life because I do have chronic obesity management and obesity is not going away from me. Like, it's not going to magically disappear. But some people plan to just go off and wean off of Zepbound. I think the intention for me on this video is with maintenance dose, will that mean for myself or for you? And I'm going to use my I statements, but this is hopefully going to spark conversations for your healthcare provider to talk about, is 1, the conversation with your insurance, and then 2, having the conversation with your telehealth provider. Does maintenance dose look like for you the existing dose you're on? For example, I'm on Zepbound 15 milligrams, the absolute highest dose. There's nowhere else for me to go until retatrutide comes out, and that's 2 more years. So this is where I'm at. This is where I'm stuck with. But will that mean when I get to my maintenance area, will I just continue once a week on Zepbound 15 milligrams? Will I go every 10 days with my injection? Will I go every 2 weeks? Will I drop down, if I'm on Zepbound 15 milligrams, down to 12.5 milligrams, a lower dose, right? For me, I am not rapidly losing weight like crazy anymore. I am fighting tooth and nail. I've become a hypo-responder. And I don't know what that means I'm just my weight, I have lost a huge chunk of weight. And so my body's railing against that. And so if you are still losing so much weight, and we're going to talk, like you're just losing a ton of weight that you're like, okay, I need to slow this down a little bit. You absolutely need to talk to your healthcare provider about that too, because there's going to be this testing window. Now, for example, I work with Join Fridays, is my telehealth company. And they say you cannot have a BMI less than 22 to go on with maintenance, or like even just prescribing, because that can be, they have medical protocol for all of that. And so they recently did a video and I thought it was so helpful for me. They're like, we use BMI, but it's not the best standard, which you and I both know that, and Join Fridays knows that. The BMI is not the best standard for weight loss and making these decisions with maintenance dose, but eventually in the future, hopefully we'll get to things like Dexa scans and some other scanning methods that will be better serving for the patient. But we are not there yet. We are still in what I'm coining as GLP 1.0. We are not to GLP 2.0, which will be like the retatrutides and these way crazier higher doses. For me, having been on the last year and a half of my life, it has been the biggest blessing and the biggest gift. I'm still fighting to get to my maintenance dose, but I can see it's on the horizon. So for you, if you've lost a ton of weight, perhaps for your chronic obesity management, and you feel like you don't want to keep losing at the pace that you're losing, then switching paths and talking to your telehealth provider or your healthcare provider about the maintenance dose and what that looks like for them. So one, talking to your health insurance, if that is applicable for you. Two, talking to your telehealth of what their rules are. For example, with Join Fridays, you're gonna wanna get in the system before you go to maintenance, right? Like, you don't wanna be joining a new telehealth company or health provider as you're kind of making your way into your maintenance journey. Get rooted, get established, and get somewhere where you know that it's gonna be more so long-term for you, because they may require things like blood panels. I mean, Join Fridays does, which I love, which is one of the many reasons they're so reputable. And that, I think, is super, super important, that you have a foundation with history with a healthcare provider or a telehealth provider. And before hitting that BMI range, 22 is where it cuts off with Join Fridays. So if you're somewhere in that realm, I just got my BMI moved to overweight. Woo! I'm no longer morbidly obese or obese. I'm just considered overweight, which is crazy to me, by the way. Like, I look in the mirror, my husband this morning was like, "You look amazing." And I'm like, "Thank you." But it's crazy to me that my BMI is still considered high. I'm 5'11"-ish. And so it's crazy. Anyways, BMI is a crazy thing. And so just knowing that we know that it's crazy, and that in the future, I do think there'll be new metrics of measurement too, in conjunction with maintenance, but we're not there yet as of me filming this in August of 2024 with this video. Tip number 3 that you need to sort out before you get to maintenance, or let me use my I statements. I am sorting out and will feel very comfortable with, because I've been actively working on, is my workouts. We know with GLP-1 medication, there's muscle mass loss. With any sort of weight loss, we have that, but particularly with GLP-1 medication. If you've not figured out for you how you're gonna do weight training or strength training, I keep reverting back to my I statements, because this is not medical advice by any means, simply my experience, strength, and hope. For me, sorting out what's the best strength training and weightlifting to prevent the muscle mass loss, y'all, because here's what, that creates a lot of problems. I want to mitigate my problems. I already got enough problems. I want to mitigate my problems. And so for you, what I want to encourage you is finding a strength training for me, it's been Pilates. I started off with wall Pilates here on YouTube. I literally did a wall Pilates for beginners, seniors. And I loved it. It was meant for seniors, and I was all up in it, and it was so hard but beautiful. It was amazing. And then I progressively, now I'm doing private lessons for Pilates, and I absolutely love it, doing Pilates classes. I really feel like I'm building so much muscle, because I walk out of those classes and my muscles are shaking. Like, literally, I'm like, my legs feel like jello. Strength training. We have a home gym here, but you don't have to have a home gym. You could literally use cans from your pantry. But Shaun T Dig Deeper, I bought that. I think it's a great weight training program to have for strength training. But then after doing my strength training, a thing that has been very helpful for me with my muscle recovery is using LMNT electrolytes. Now, I've used LMNT electrolytes. I bought them a year and a half ago. I bought them because so many elite athletes, even like FBI snipers, for example, use them. Like, they have elite athletes using, and I was like, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And I started using LMNT because of the side effects with Mounjaro when I started, and then Zepbound, and then Tirzepatide compound. It has been huge now, transitioning from the phase of having like crazy side effects. I really don't have those anymore. Now into this workout mode of strength training. Yesterday, I don't know who I am. Apparently an alien's invaded my body. But I walked 6 miles and I went to my private Pilates class in one day. I'm like, who does? Who does? It's me. Like, that's my new lifestyle. But afterwards, you know what I had immediately when I came back from walking 6 miles, hiking 6 miles? Bam! My LMNT electrolyte. I like their sparkling. My favorites are the sparkling electrolyte water. It has magnesium, potassium, sodium. Really helps with that muscle recovery. And because I'm sweating so much, having that has been very helpful. Now, I like the cans quite a bit. It's only 5 calories in it, and it tastes great. My kid drinks these too. I love them. My kid is an athlete, and so he's 8. He's almost 9, and so happy birthday, Duke! His birthday's coming up. He loves the watermelon, but the can, my personal favorite, are grapefruit. The grapefruit. Surprisingly, I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I do, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. The grapefruit one, it's this like peachish color, and then they have a cherry limeade. The Duke loves the watermelon, and my husband likes the citrus. They're great for mocktails too, by the way. But Element has been super gracious to give us 8 free sticks with any purchase, either the sparkling electrolytes or the drink mixes. You just go to drinkelement.com/queen, QUEEN, and they will give you 8 free sticks with any purchase. It has been one of the best things I've done for my Zepbound weight loss journey. And literally this chickadee, right as I started my weight loss journey, I was with GLP-1 medication, I immediately bought them and I have not regretted it. A year and a half later, like, I've mentioned this before, we had a family member who was going through colon cancer treatment and was taking element electrolytes, and thank goodness is in remission for now, hallelujah. And like, my dad is on it. My dad was hiking 2 miles yesterday and he's like, called me up and he's like, "You got any more of those element electrolytes?" And I'm like, "I love it." I'm like, "Yes, of course." And so I was making him sound country because he is country, but he does have his PhD. He's a very smart man, so I shouldn't make him sound so country. But he loves using element electrolytes. He only uses half of a stick for a big Algene water bottle. So you can change your saltiness. If it's too salty, then just add more water. If it's not salty enough, add more in. Like, you can discern which is with the drink mixes. I found with the sparkling, they're like just right. It's like Goldilocks. It's chef's kiss. So number 3 for Zepbound maintenance dose, figuring out your workouts for strength training in particular. You're going to need that. And that is in conjunction with what I said, if you are putting your health majorly at risk, if you are not having a Dexa scan. The more I learn about Dexa scans, the more I'm kicking myself. I didn't do this at the beginning of my journey to track better. So thank you, by the way, to viewers and free group members who've mentioned to me about Dexa scans. Here in Virginia, by the way, side note, remember how in my previous videos, I was like, hold me accountable for getting my mammogram, and which I still haven't gotten yet. So keep holding me accountable. But in Virginia, there's a new law passed. You can get your mammogram without having a doctor like approval. You can just go and get a mammogram. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to go be getting my Dexa scan as well. I'm going to do 2 birds in one hand with that. So just FYI, it's close by. They're not the same facility, but they're close by. So just FYI, get your Dexa scan, and if you're a woman, get your mammogram if you're of the age. The Dexa scan is going to tell you muscle mass loss. It's going to tell you about bone density. It's going to tell you a lot of stuff. Is as you're going through this, you really want to know and then track and know. And it's more in depth than the tools. I have a great Amazon shopping list. It's more in depth than those that I've recommended before. Like, it's a whole thing. And so one of our group members, she had done it like every 6 months, and it was super helpful as she was showing her data. I was so grateful in the free group. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so helpful. I absolutely have to get it. And with health insurance, you can probably get it covered by your health insurance. Out of pocket, I think it's in the $150, $200, $250-ish price point. So check again with your health insurance. If you have benefits, it very well may be covered under your benefits too, depending on how much, like maybe once a year or things like that. I made the commitment. I was like, I don't care if my insurance covers this or not. I want to know, what is my muscle mass akin to? Are my muscles and my bone density like a 60-year-old, or are they of what my age is, which is in my 40s? So like, having this information is also going to help with preventative care, which is what we love about GLP-1 medications for people who are on chronic obesity management, trying to prevent other, things. The GLP-1 medication is now going to be prescribed for people with like sleep apnea and strokes and heart attacks and cardiovascular events. All of these preliminary trials are showing how much GLP-1s help with across the board with health. Arthritis, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that they're testing with GLP-1 medication. It's crazy in a great way. So that was tip number 4, was the Dexa scan. That is, look into that, of what your benefits will cover, and if they don't cover it, still look into it in your area. I wanted to come on this video and give you like, hey, go to X, Y, and Z for Dexa scan, and it looks like we have many international viewers, but US based. There wasn't like a one-stop place I could be like, go check this out. Like, go to Costco. No, it's not like a Costco thing. Unfortunately. So I can't just tell you like, go to a Target or a Walmart. Like, it's not like that. So you're going to need to look within your area. Dexa, DEXA scan. Tip number 5, sorting out food. Meaning, to help combat with that muscle mass loss, making sure you're having high protein foods, which is why I harp on so much for myself, 125 grams of protein per day. It has made such a big difference in my weight loss journey, the way that I look, and the weight is coming off easier, and my pants are fitting better because of the protein I'm intentionally having. So For you, my encouragement would be, do you feel like your food, if you're on medication, Zepbound or WEGOVY or Tirzepatide or semaglutide for chronic obesity management, do you feel like what you're eating is good to slow down on, right? And for me, this has been a massive refining process. I didn't realize when I first started it was going to be, in some ways, so challenging, but also so easy. I erroneously thought I was going to continue with the weight drop and the appetite suppression that I started with a year and a half ago now, a year and a half later. And I suspect as I continue to lose weight, this very well may be more of a battle than it already is right now. So building the skill set, building the muscle figuratively and literally with food and learning these new tools, and like I don't binge eat at night at all, really. I'm trying to remember the last, I did that a few months back, and it did not feel good at all. But that used to be a daily occurrence for me before taking GLP-1 medication. And so my encouragement for you is, do you have your food where you feel like it's right and tight? Because what's going to happen, well, again, I'll use my I statements. What happened to me when I traveled to Las Vegas 2 weeks ago, I did not take my pen with me. I shared this on a previous video. It was 11 days without my medication. I had stopped Zepbound for 11 days, and it was awful. I was hungry at 11 o'clock at night. I wanted to order room service in my Las Vegas hotel. I didn't, but I was thinking about it. I was looking through the menu, and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm on chronic obesity management medication. Like, no, this is not healthful for my health journey and wellness journey. And so what I want to encourage you is that showed me from that experience, there was a recoil with what I had. And like I said, I right now am not struggling, but I'm clawing, baby. I'm fighting. You may be where you are with your doses where you're not fighting the way I'm fighting. You may be at, we had one of our beautiful viewers, Linda, if you guys didn't see that success interview, she's on Zepbound 2.5 milligrams. She's been on it for 34 weeks. She's lost over 50 pounds. She's been on Zepbound 2.5 milligrams. So she feasibly could go into maintenance on Zepbound 2.5 milligrams. You know what I'm saying? She may switch. I don't know because I didn't ask her this and I wish I had. But when she goes on to maintenance, will she stay at Zepbound 2.5 milligrams and maybe go every 10 days? Will she stay at once a week? Will she go every 2 weeks? I don't know. But maybe depending on your dose too, that is where this comes back to. One size does not fit all. It drives me bananas in terms of dosing schedules. That is really, I think, a conversation between you and your healthcare provider because it's not one size fit all. There's many spectrums of chronic obesity management. People who are obese or morbidly obese, like there is a variation and there is a spectrum to obesity. And when I was on the Oprah show, they talked a lot about that. I can't remember if that aired or not, but it was one of the conversations the doctors were having was there is a wide variety of obesity. And so dosing schedules, Zepbound dosing schedule or Tirzepatide dosing schedule, and then thus Zepbound maintenance dose and thus Tirzepatide maintenance dose, I don't think is a one size fit all. Again, I am not a healthcare provider, so take it or leave my opinion for what it's worth. Take what you want and leave the rest. But for me, it is going to vary so much because some of y'all right now are like, I'm rolling in at Zepbound 7.5 milligrams. I've lost a ton of weight. I'm almost rounding where I want to be. I'm not even anywhere near that highest dose. And if that is you, by the way, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy, by the way, with everyone who shares with me. I've been getting it a lot recently in our free encouragement group, and I have to say this. It literally makes me weep seeing people's successes and how people have changed their life. And going to this next phase with maintenance for people of how you're continuing to change your life. And that has a ripple effect, right? I didn't know a year and a half ago that I would have the privilege of seeing thousands and thousands of people change their lives. And being an early adapter on this medication, it has been truly a gift of a lifetime. And so if you're still watching this video, please know from my heart, I appreciate you so much. You motivate me. If you're watching this video, you motivate me, even if you haven't even started yet. Because I have felt so alone for so many years of being with chronic obesity management to now being like, oh my gosh, there's so many people who get it. And not only are we getting it, we're changing our lives. We're changing the way our health is. We're going to live a lot longer. And we're also going to face up to some things that we all still need to continue to change on our journey. I just had a friend, a really good friend, start semaglutide. And so we're yip-yapping together. And she's like, I have spent over $1,000 on medication and I've only lost like 3 pounds. She was getting very, very frustrated with it. And we're talking and I'm like, yes, because this is lifestyle changes. I'm like, let's go into it. You can feel, because she's my friend, I felt like I could kind of talk to her about this. What does your food look like? And what changes have you made? And so she's like, I'm so grateful I'm not night snacking. And I'm like, I know that for me was one of the biggest reliefs of like, I'm not sneaking down, which it wasn't sneaking, by the way, everybody could see. There was no sneaking about that. I wish there was. There was no sneaking. But she and I were talking, there's no sneaking that night food anymore. She's like, I'm not night snacking. And so I'm like, that's amazing. Like that right there, check. That is an amazing accomplishment. Then I was like, okay, what about protein? What about nutrient dense foods like vegetables and fruit and things like that? And I'm like, that mean you don't do that at the beginning. But when we're getting close, I'll use my eye statements. When I'm getting close to maintenance and I'm rounding kind of near where my goals are and almost hitting goal weight, what am I going to continue to refine to make this better? And maybe for me, I still have more refining to do. But maybe for you, if you're watching this, you're like, check. I feel like I've ticked every single boxes and I'm living a life of excellence in terms of my food and working out and I'm good, And if that's you, big high five. High five. Because I know several of you are in that space and I'm like, I want to be you. I think it's so cool. For me, I'm still grappling, fighting, learning, because there was so much of these like unhealthy things tied together with chronic obesity management for me. Unraveling that has taken longer, and I'm slower than the average bear, and I am a turtle. And it's weird because in my life, normally I'm like an overachiever and like type A personality, like get to the top and super successful with every single other area of my life except for this. So to be slower on this scale somewhat is like, okay, it's humbling and I'm learning and I'm getting the life lesson and I'm going to continue to refine this. So that's my other tip for you too, is looking at your overall encompassing health. What areas do you need to refine as you talk about that with your telehealth provider or healthcare provider in conjunction with this, right? Like what can you do to continue to make it better? Because maybe right now you're slaying it. You're like, I am so close to maintenance. I've lost all this weight. I never thought I'd lose weight and I'm losing weight, or I have worked really, really hard to be here. It hasn't been an easy journey and I'm here. Or for some people are like, this has been a breeze. I'm so excited. Like wherever you are on this journey, I want you to pause and reflect and be like, okay, is there anywhere else, other stones I need to turn over to continue to refine my health as I walk into maintenance? Because for me, having not my shot every 7 days, but going to that 11th day was, boom, I felt like I was hit with a ton of bricks. Other people have questioned that of like, oh, it shouldn't have happened that quickly or whatever. That was my experience, strength, and hope. Everybody's going to have a different experience, strength, and hope. And so maybe that's something you walk through with your telehealth provider, but I really want to encourage you, which is tip number 7, have safety nets for yourself. Because for me, there was old tapes that came up that I was like, I feel like a failure. Why am I binge eating again? Oh my gosh, it's come back. I thought I had moved beyond this and it's back. No, 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 no. That's not a healthy mindset. That for me was something literally I had to talk to my therapist about. And I'm talking more about me talking to a therapist because I feel like it's not talked about enough, about the mental side and mindset side and emotional side of weight loss management, of losing a chunk of weight. There for me has been a massive accounting that I've needed to have a trained professional and PhD help me with. And I don't think many people are talking about this aspect, and it scares me because there have been emotional things. It comes out in other ways if it's not dealt with and healed. And so for me, also even just the attention with it too, which I've talked about, it's weird, like men paying me attention where doors used to slam in my face. I was very comfortable with that. And now people like look at me and I'm like, oh, don't look at, like, I just feel very, anyways, my husband and I have lengthy conversations on that, and my therapist. The reason why I'm going down this path is there may be a recoil. And do you have safety nets in place with maintenance in case that happens? The first week, the second week, the third week, or whatever. I would encourage you to think about that. Pause and reflect. And maybe you're like, I got this, boo, I'm good. But maybe you're like me and this has been such a clawing journey, I don't want to regress. And so as I'm looking at my best Zepbound maintenance dose, I'm thinking about these things: the food, the workouts, the mental, and with all the red tape involved with insurance and all of that, all of that. Many of you have also asked about the Zepbound savings card too, but it expires at the end of the year. What happened last year, my experience was Zepbound made a new savings card. I don't know. I don't have insider information on that. I wish I did. Eli Lilly, call me. But I don't know if that will continue. I'm assuming it will because it did previously. And with Mounjaro, if I'm remembering correctly, it also like it's been several years, 2 years now, right? Is it Mounjaro? Yeah, no? Trying to remember. It's been at least a year, if not two, of the savings card in general for Mounjaro and Zepbound. And Mounjaro, by the way, is FDA approval for type 2 diabetics. Same thing as Zepbound. It's Tirzepatide. They're both Tirzepatide. Some people get very confused with the semantics of it all, whereas Ozempic and Wegovy are the same thing, just 2 different FDA approvals on there. And once we get the FDA approval for sleep apnea and heart disease, it's going to be even more names included in there too. So that's coming. That's coming too. I hope this video has been helpful for you and has hopefully given you more thought-provoking questions to ask your healthcare provider, that you've got a list now of like, okay, I can go talk to my healthcare provider. You can go rewatch this video again too. Maybe have your partner watch it, of like, are they seeing loose ends with it? In terms of your insurance, talking to your telehealth provider or health provider, what does your workouts look like for muscle mass loss? The food component of it, having a Dexa scan and getting that kind of established, the recoil of this, and then number 7, there was a number 7, the emotional support of it, having that emotional with the recoil on there too. And your maintenance dose may be still continuing every week or every 10 days or at a lower dose or every 2 weeks or whatever. Like, it may be different. And this may be a tweaking period, and also giving grace that it may be a tweaking period. It may go well and you may need to go back, and it may take some adjusting because everybody's body's different. And that is one of the beautiful things, is God made us beautifully and wonderfully made. And that we're all different, and that's awesome. Differences are a great, fantastic thing. And so we embrace them here at Countess of Shopping. Okay, sweet friends, your question of the day, what are you doing? Your accountability question, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? Our emoji for today is going to be a lightning bolt. Because we are talking about our electrolytes and our lightning bolt, make sure you go get your electrolytes too at drinkelement.com/queen, QUEEN. You can go ahead and get those electrolytes, particularly if you're lifting, weight training, working out. Can I tell you what a gift it was to come back from my 6-mile walk, and have one of these cold bad boys in the fridge? I just cracked her open, put my legs up, and my little boy was chitter-chattering to me drinking this, and I was like, life is delicious, figuratively and literally. So, okay, I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping, counting my blessings, because life is delicious. Bye, guys.